Whenever I get something strong like this, boom. I'm doing a terrible drawing job here today. Let's see. Strong job. Strong. Like that. Powerful. I will dive into the power, but with basically 1/2 of what I want to do, because I want the bounce. Okay? Now, if the stock, I will place orders immediately above me, multiple orders in different layers above me. I do this with hotkeys, right? So I'm looking for the stock to bounce to fill these orders. 1, boom, 2, boom. I'm growing with the orders, boom, 3. And I'm looking for this to fail. I'm looking for the failure because of the violence or the power that was initiated there. All right? True power has an 87% follow-through rate. To put that in perspective, it means that if you bet after true, sheer, strong power on lower prices after that bar. Now, I'm not saying how much lower. I'm just saying lower than that bar. Okay, so we're going to make it broad. If you took that bet 10 times, you would be right many times. You would be right many times 10 out of 10. You would be right sometimes 6, 7 out of 10. But your average would be 8.7, which is practically 9 times out of every 10. So how do you get 8.7? You get 8.7 because there are multiple sets of 10s where you go 10 for 10, 10 for 10, 10 for 10. All right, and it's only when you don't go 10 for 10 that it starts knocking it down from 10 out of 10. All right, now, most of you know that I do this. Now, but I want to add the 200 there because a lot of times people are afraid that strong power to the downside has reached the 200. A lot of traders think that this should be a buy, but no, it's a sell. It's a sell because the odds are still very high. Maybe they're now 8.2 but it's still high. That you're going to get lower prices down here. But the 200, what becomes higher odds is that the 200 will often bounce the stock more reliably. So you have two scenarios. You have the violence that doesn't have the 200 underneath, and there's a bounce and then a drop 50% of the time. I want you to know these numbers. 50% of the time there's a bounce. The other 50% of the time you get this, look, violence and then continuation with no bounce. 50%, 50-50. All right? So sometimes you get the bounce. Half of the time you get the bounce. This is why I go into the violence, because I used to wait for the bounce. And then I realized I got the bounce, but there were so many that didn't bounce and I just missed money. And I got tired of missing half of my plays. I realized after doing journaling, I'm missing 50% of these moves just waiting for the bounce. So now I don't wait for the bounce. I go in. I don't go in full. but I go in. If, you give me that bar, I'm going into the bar. Then I'm throwing the orders above me. All right? Because some just don't bounce. And some do. But you guys know me. I want it all. I want the ones that don't bounce, and I want the ones that bounce too, because they both have high follow-through rates. Now, of course, I'm going to be more profitable on the one that bounces. I'm going to be least profitable on the one that doesn't bounce, but that's okay. Something is better than nothing. All right? So the violence can go, you can have these scenarios. Let me see if I can clear this to make a clear, yeah, a little bit clearer there. So you have these scenarios: violence that no bounce, violence, all right, that bounces and then drops, okay? And then you have violence right toward the 200 and then break. The odds of the break is still high. And this is what I call my wrecking ball concept, right? This first drop is like a wrecking ball that slams into a building. The first contact doesn't knock the building down, but it does weaken the building at its core, at its foundation, so that now the wrecking ball swings back, and the next time it knocks the building over. All right? So it's that 1-2 punch that can get through your 200. All right? Now, I'm going to show you how there's a version of this that I played today with MU. Here is violence originating from the 200. This is the little bounce. This is your follow through. Yes, it can be that small. So you got this scenario: violence, green bounce. It's a little bounce, but it's still green bounce. It's moving up the red bar, and boom. Anytime you give me a solid red, that's what I'm looking for. But it has to be in a fairly decent position, of course, right? Now, if we go to the 5 minute here, you'll see it like this. Here's violence starting from the 200, and look at the bounce. See the bounce back to the upside, and then boom, follow through. All right, here's violence. Here's the bounce back to the upside. And here's the follow through. These things are all over the place. All right.